Hey, what's up guys? We're back again with a Hog Rider Mega Knight Freeze deck that never dies. I made multiple videos on this deck when it was at the top of the leaderboards a year ago, and many metas later, it still stayed at the top as one of the best decks in the game. The rank 84 player in the world only plays this Hog Rider deck as his main deck. If your opponent bridge spams once and overcommits into a Mega Knight, Prince, or Inferno Dragon, you drop a Hog Rider in front of your counter-pushing units, and you crush your opponent. The deck simply doesn't die on offense because you have a freeze to keep all of your high damage units alive. So that means all you have to do is get a Prince, Hog Rider, or Inferno Dragon near a tower and be up elixir, and then you win the game. Since a lot of ladder players are constantly frustrated and trying to regain their trophies, this deck is perfect. Whenever I want to push up ranks fast, this is always a fun deck to choose. It's time to freeze all of our unsuspecting opponents and assert dominance with a deck that never dies. Subscribe to the channel to stay connected for all the daily videos. A whole lot of love to everyone that's using creator code SirTag to make all the high effort videos possible. So jump into the game against Daniel. We're gonna be dropping a good luck and hopefully we can drop some towers real quick. We're going to be going in for the bomber in the back, and I have no clue what he's going to do. Usually, whenever we see someone with a tombstone, it's going to be a lava hound deck. It could also be like a graveyard deck, but I don't want to put my finger on something and guess immediately because there's a lot of weird decks out there on ladder. If I freeze, could that connect to the tower? I think it might anyway. Daniel, what are you doing, my man? Oh my gosh, I'm going to freeze. That prince is going to stay locked and loaded on the tower. Daniel, you did not respect the prince. And that is a really awesome start for us. As you guys can see, all it takes is one slight slip up from your opponent, and then they lose their tower. That's why this deck is so good, especially if you're trying to climb up ranks or you're playing in more of a casual game mode. If people aren't necessarily top ladder warriors, what's going to happen is they're going to make slip ups, and you're going to take their tower every single time. So after we locked up the first tower, we had this game completely on lock. He tried to go in for a graveyard freeze, but we just did whatever we could please, dropping our Mega Knights and Bombers to clean up the graveyard skeletons, and then we won a big battle at the river with double Inferno Dragons and a Mega Knight, and then, well, the rest was history. My man was removed from the game with his mental in shambles. All it takes is one good Inferno Dragon, Prince, or Hog Rider connection, and then it's GG. Yo, this guy's gonna have P.E.K.K.A in his banner. I really want to play against P.E.K.K.A with Monk because our Inferno Dragon melts everything. Even though we've got a Mega Knight deck, it's not that difficult to play against. Especially if we can bait out the P.E.K.K.A with our Hog Rider, and then he won't have like his P.E.K.K.A in cycle for our Mega Knight. It's pretty funny. Oh no, is this gonna be like Ram Rider? This could be a bit more spicy. If the dude's gonna have Snowball and Dark Prince, that makes me think of a Mega Knight Ram Rider deck or a P.E.K.K.A Mega Knight deck. And I don't want to play against either of those. Just played against a lot of P.E.K.K.A Mega Knight at mid ladder, and it's like, why? Oh no, he's gonna drop something big in front of that Musketeer because he just ate a Prince shot. You know this guy's gonna be a wild child. What is he gonna do?
And his name is Johnson.
Oh, he's gonna drop a giant in the back. No, it's giant graveyard. That's what it is. Okay. So in this type of environment, it's important for us to go for Bats Inferno Dragon and get ready with a Zap or potentially a freeze. I think Zap is just a lot better because it's gonna be able to completely kill the Skeleton Army for way less elixir. And we're chilling. As you guys knew, I identified what we were playing against. I was just like, you know what? Wait, what if I freeze? What if I just freeze and 3-crown you? There's no shot that you're going to be able to defend that, right? Oh my gosh. I'm telling you right now, no matter what you play against, if your opponent just plays too aggressive into this, you're going to take their tower and they are dead in seconds. While this deck most certainly doesn't die across the metas, I can't say the same about your opponents. Let's keep climbing up the ranks. This deck is so fun to play on ladder. Love punishing my opponents and collecting their medals super quick. So this guy is not cycling anything at the start. I'm just gonna go and split my bats in the back, and I think I have to sacrifice the bomber here because can't really eat that 300 tower damage from the Fire Spirit. It's not something I'm about. The guy's gonna have Fire Spirit and Archer, so it could be Electro Giant. There's a chance it's an Electro Giant deck. There's a chance it's also Expo. Wait, he ate the bomber damage. That's just as much as a Fire Spirit would be. Okay, I'm going to go Prince, and then we should be able to tank for the majority of the archers. Not in a terrible spot. Skeletons will give him some damage left-hand side, but it's only one little tap. And then I think I can go for a Hog Rider counter push, and then maybe go in for Bats or Freeze, depending on what happens here. Yeah, I'm definitely going to Freeze. If you mess up that interaction and we keep the Prince alive, you, sir, are punished immediately. That's all it takes with this deck. When you're up elixir after you defend, because you're inherently always going to be up elixir with units counter pushing because you're going to get positive elixir trades on defense generally, then you are going to be able to punish your opponent with a freeze, especially in single elixir when they don't have much elixir. When they spam into a Mega Knight or a Prince, that's when you throw a Hog Rider right behind it and you make your opponent get behind in the game. So we're going to go in Mega Knight and push those piggies back, and I don't know if he's going to be able to stop bats here. One of the reasons why that Mega Knight is so strong on counter push is if you drop bats or minions off to the left-hand side of the Mega Knight, then those units will make sure that like Mighty Miters will typically have to drop their bomb a little bit faster to go to the other side, or they'll have to go in for a zap or a supplementary card, right? Kind of unfortunate for our dude here. He's definitely going to try to out-cycle my Mega Knight. That's why he dropped Royal Hogs early. But here's the thing. I've got bombers, so it doesn't even matter if you out-cycle it, man. I'm fine with it. We do get to show you guys the strategy of how to break through people with buildings, because you're not going to be able to out-cycle their bomb tower. So generally what I try to do is I would like to go in for a Mega Knight in the back and build up a big push. But because this guy is giving me the availability of counter pushing with a Prince, I got to take that, right? So I'm not going to build up a big push. You kind of gave me a huge elixir advantage, and I'm ready to capitalize on it. So I can go for a freeze or I can go in for a zap, but I think going in for a zap and a freeze is better, because zap plus freeze is able to kill archers, and people don't know that. It's a cool card combination that crushes the meta. Zap plus freeze. You would never think so, because zap isn't played near as much as arrows, and freeze is hardly ever played in the meta. So we're going to go in for a freeze here, be able to go and stomp on those archers, and yeah, this game just completely fell apart for our dude. So what I would have done differently if this guy played a little bit better is I would have went for a Mega Knight in the back like you're about to see, and then I would drop a Prince behind it, then I would drop the Hog Rider, and I would build up one big push, freeze and zap, and then break through his archers and win the game. That's how I like to play, but didn't even get to that point in this one. These wins are ridiculously dominant, and we are on a massive win streak. After pushing up a few hundred trophies already, we're top 9,400 in the world. Next game, time to keep up the win streak. You guys already know this guy's got a heart, and I'm gonna be absolutely heartless. Man, why you gotta make me make these jokes with your name, bro? I don't want to be rude out here. I don't want to make these jokes about your name. I'm going to give you some love and some luck, and we'll see what you're up to. Generally, whenever I see someone with an Ice Spirit, they're going to have a fast cycle deck. I don't know which one he's going to be packing for us today, but I'm ready for it. Especially when the Bomber is going to be able to give us extra value. I want to go and support that with the Prince, because the Bomber would die typically, but I'm going to keep it alive because he logged, and now he's going to have to drop even more Elixir. Oh, this is going to be an Expo deck. Let's go, guys. I love this matchup. It is so much fun to beat Expo players when they're not suspecting you to go in for like a freeze plus zap on the archers. It's really, really fun. So I'm going to go in for a freeze here because I want to be able to get some extra damage and then just cycle like to our Inferno Dragon to be able to pulverize his Expo. So not necessarily the best start for us, but it is what it is. We're going to keep the streak alive. You could go for an Ice Spirit to retarget the Inferno Dragon. He doesn't have skeletons in cycle though, so he's not going to be able to take my tower. I'm going to give him a well played. He went in for an Expo at a pretty good point, and he's using the trick against Inferno Dragon to pull it back as far as possible. So that super smart strategy, dropping your Inferno Dragon counter at the river, opposed to dropping in the middle, making sure that the Inferno Dragon gets pulled back instead of going directly towards his tower. So I'm going to go for a Hog Rider here with the Bomber, and we can bait out a Tesla. So that Tesla will not be used on offense to discombobulate our Mega Knight or our Prince that we decided to drop on his Expo. We know he's going to be going to the left-hand side the entire time, but that's not super scary for me. I think in the later stages of the game, I can even slow roll a Mega Knight in the back, but I can't afford to do that right now. I just need to go in for a Prince instead. If I went for a Mega Knight, he would take my entire tower on the other side, especially when I do not end up having the Inferno Dragon in cycle. So the Mega Knight should directly be able to jump on top of the Archer and then also end up clapping on top of the Expo, and then I can go for bats afterward to force out a Fireball because he doesn't have Archers in cycle, so these bats should lock directly towards the tower. He doesn't have Archers, he's going to have to end up hitting an Ice Spirit like super well, which most people aren't capable of doing. So I'm just going to freeze with one bat on the tower for ultimate meme status. And we're in a really good spot. We're kind of clawing our way back in the game. Okay, so I'm going to go in for an Inferno Dragon and a Hog Rider here just to finish it off so he's not able to keep that on the map. If we can kill the Tesla, that's going to be a W for me. Then I can just Mega Knight again. Skeletons are going to be out of cycle. We're going to go for a Mega Knight now. We expect him to not be able to counter this very effectively because the Mega Knight directly jumps in that proximity. Just drop it within jumping distance, not too close to the Expo. Do we go in for the Mega Knight in the back and build up a big push as I was talking about before? I think that's our best way of winning this game. Unfortunately, the Tesla will start to become problematic for us. But if we go for a Hog Rider here, and then we go for bats off to the side, maybe the Prince will be able to connect to the Tesla, so then the Hog Rider can get damage. Yeah, I think the Prince does connect. So we can go for a freeze and then a zap, and he's going to have to fireball. He's going for the log. He didn't know the archers would die. See, this is the strategy that you do. You go in for the zap and the freeze. They're relying on the archers because they're so utterly overpowered. And then with the archers gone, your opponent's entire defense will be gone too. People will become increasingly reliant on this extremely overpowered card. And it's like you're ripping the training wheels off of their bicycle, and then they have to learn how to bike at full speed, and they're just not used to it. Their defense falls apart, and you take their towers apart too. Every single game, we have been dominating our opponents, and now we're at 7,700 in the world. This deck is top tier. Yo, this guy is a certified pro. He's even got stars in his name. You gotta believe him then, right? That's just like the verification badge almost. What's up, bro? We're going for the bomber in the back, and it looks like it'll probably be a P.E.K.K.A deck. Whenever I see someone go for Royal Ghost, it's usually going to be 3 Musketeers, P.E.K.K.A, or Royal Hogs. Ooh, interesting. I don't know what this is anymore because this is a Royal Ghost with a firecracker. That is not one of the 3 things that I said before it might be. Okay, so I'm sure that the bomber is able to kill that, right? Yo, this has actually not been so bad. I conserved elixir, so I'm able to plop down a big Mega Knight boy on top of the elite Barbarians and show him what's really elite out here. So the taste of defeat is still in the air for him after he lost his E-Barbs without getting any tower damage. I think I'm going to make it a little bit stronger. I'm going to go in for bats, and then he's going to go recruits and archers. Wait, I freeze? Can the bats do enough damage to allow us to lock onto the tower here with the Mega Knight? Can the Mega Knight jump, or is it just going to kill the archers and the bats win us the game? Oh, none of that happened. I wanted so much more, and I was given so little. Man, that just doesn't feel fair. Okay, at least the recruits are out of cycle, so I can go in for a prince off to the side to make sure that I get a decent transaction here, right? So, he's got archers, recruits, definitely a bait deck that will be problematic for me in the later stages of the game, but if he doesn't have the right card cycle, yo, let's go. That was awesome. I identified that the recruits were out of cycle, and usually recruits are like, I don't really care about having any other distractions because recruits are enough. And without recruits having them in cycle, that was real tough for my dude. He's going to go E-Barbs, and then I can Mega Knight on them again. And I think that's going to be our best bet every single time that they're in the same side. The thing is, I kind of also sort of maybe need to go in for a bomber as well, because I need to be able to kill his recruits that he's about to drop. And then I want to go bats on the other side of the recruits, because I can't consistently let recruits do that amount of damage to my tower. You feel me, my dudes? Oh, I also can't go in for a bomber right into a firecracker. So what are we going to do? Okay, I still can go for bats on the right-hand side, as I said before. And then I can go bomber here, and then maybe go in for a zap. This is way more sketchy than it was before. The bomber is going to be able to prevent a lot of damage, but at the same time, I took a ton as well from the archers. The archers are just an overpowered card. What can I say? They're not fun to play into most times. If I freeze with the prince alive, that could give us a lot of value, especially with the bats. And then the bomber. Oh my gosh, come on now. Come on now. One more Hog Rider hit. That's it. That's it, baby. That's what I'm talking about. He's giving us Mega Knight value again. And then I can zap on top of the wall breakers to finish them off. Because you just zap, it's a 2-for-2 trade. It's not that bad for us. He's going to have to go in for probably a Goblin Drill on defense against the Hog Rider. He can't get away with Royal Recruits because that's not going to be a building. Yo, the Mega Knight just jumped in place. I guess the Mega Knight just wants to perform some weird decisions out here. That's crazy. That was dope. So I don't know if this man can cope. If we can just go in for a bomber again, we probably can go in for another Mega Knight. The difficulty with this matchup is starting to arise because now he's going to go in for a Magic Archer on me. Stop. So much elixir, bro. All right, I'm going to Hog Rider here again. I can go in for a freeze because he's probably not going to be back to the right card cycle. And if he only has E-Barbs, I get that last hit. Let's go. I knew his card cycle and knew he wasn't back to Goblin Drill, and we punished him immediately. Wouldn't you know, even the pro didn't know how to defend this deck. And with Mega Knight, we've been leaping our way up the leaderboards at 6,500 in the world. Let's see if we can keep it up. We got a game against the Game Brothers. So he's got one thing capitalized and the game isn't that important, so it's not capitalized, I guess. All right, dude. I'm going to go for a Hog Rider here and a bomber, try to go and catch some skeletons or goblins or something. Oh, it's going to be Sparky. Let's go. So I'm going to go for a zap here. This is a bit aggressive, but I believe it's the right play. Because we can Inferno Dragon, kill the Golden Knight, maybe get him to go and click the dash and have less elixir overall. I really want to see him click the dash here. If he does that, he's going to waste a bit of elixir. Okay, wait. I could freeze depending on what happens. Is it worth it? I think it is because he's probably going to go... Yeah, he goes in for a zap to reset it. I thought he would probably drop like a snowball or something, honestly. I just didn't think he was going to have zap in this deck. whatever reason, whenever I see Mother Witch, I expect people to try to run defensive spells to bounce things back so they can keep the Mother Witch alive a little bit longer. So I'm going to go for Hog Rider pretty aggressively as well. I'm going to go for Bats just to apply more aggression, especially with the Mother Witch out of cycle. I think the Bats are going to give us a lot of added benefit. Ooh, okay. I think I need to go in for a Mega Knight here to go and kill the Mini P.E.K.K.A. It is going to be a problem, though, because the Mini P.E.K.K.A. does such high damage per second, especially if it's raged up. Oh my gosh. This is not fun to play against a raged up Goblin Giant locked onto the tower. He really took me out for lunch, breakfast, and dinner and ate most of everything that I had. I'm going to go for a freeze here because I'm pretty sure that the Mega Knight's going to be able to delete that and then hopefully jump onto the tower. Oh, that was really close. We forced out a zap, so I think that was worth it. It was only a -2 trade, killing the Mother Witch, and also getting the bomber hit on the tower. So overall, a little bit of a W for me. All right, we're going to wait for him to potentially click the ability, then we're going to go in for a Prince last second. And since I have Zap and Hog Rider, I will guaranteed take tower here if I want to. Just depends on what he's going to do. Oh, is he able to get the Mini P.E.K.K.A. down at the right time? I hope not. I want to Zap so we can kill it. Yes! Let's go! So if you guys didn't know, 2 Prince hits plus a Zap kills the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Super solid stuff to know this type of interactions. At the higher level, when you start to memorize every single unique interaction, that's what sets you apart from winning and losing games. Also, I'm just going to go and cycle the Inferno Dragon left-hand side so we preclude the potential of him going in for an easy and reliable Goblin Giant to get damage. Also, if he had a Phoenix, it would have blasted my tower there with the death damage, which would have been really bad for me. Okay, so I can go in for a freeze on top of the Mother Witch. I think this will be reliable for me because I'm pretty sure I can kill that with the Inferno Dragon and Bats. Maybe not. Maybe not. I hope so. Oh, that was such a good zap. It killed the Mother Witch. Okay, so the Prince is going to be tanking for just long enough for me to get down another Mega Knight. And then I think I can go in for a Bomber instead of doing anything else. Because if I go Bats, I'm definitely going to get Mother Witch and I'll lose the game. Wait, is there any shot that the Bomber kills everything? No way, dude. You're the MVP. Because I didn't go for Bats. There was no plan for him to go for the pig. And that Prince is going to hold the door for just long enough. Wow, we were on the brink of defeat, but we devoured his push and we came out ahead. That's why it's so important in close games to keep in mind your opponent's card cycle. If I dropped Bats, it would have been game over and I would have had no way to win with an endless amount of Mother Witch piggies swarming my tower. They would have tanked for the Mini P.E.K.K.A. and Goblin Giant and they would have done so much destructive damage. Unfortunately for him, we're not a pig farmer out here, we're farming wins. Like, subscribe for more daily videos and have an amazing rest of your day.